WCBM.com.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Welcome to it. You know, yesterday was Easter Sunday. I'm going to call today Miracle Monday. For a number of reasons. Some great news out of Iran yesterday. Two military pilots were rescued in an amazing act of courage, and no one was injured.
News overnight. In an extraordinary turn of events, the United States has rescued the second crew member who was in the U.S. F-15 fighter jet shot down over Iran Friday. President Trump texting me directly this morning. The rescue was an Easter miracle. The enemy was large and violent. The rescuers were brilliant, strong, decisive, and as cool as anyone can be.
Yep.
The Iranians thought they had him, but it wasn't even close. And remember, we got two, but couldn't talk about the first, in that it would have highlighted that there was a second.
Yep.
Such a rescue has never happened before in so violent an enemy territory. It is usually not done because it is considered not doable. Such a great military like no other. Adding on Truth Social, open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell.
That's the expression that caused the media to melt down yesterday. Donald Trump said, open the effing straights, or all hell would rain down on you. And they got all butthurt about it because Donald Trump was talking about our enemies, and using some coarse language. This coming from people who called Donald Trump a Nazi and Hitler and a pedophile for the last decade. I had to laugh. I did a guffaw, a spit take, if you will, when I saw that. But I'm going to tell you something. When I woke up yesterday morning, Sunday morning, I heard this news. I keep the phone kind of over, near me on the bed. Don't check it during the night. Thank you very much. But I looked over and I tipped it up, and all of a sudden on my feed was this rescue operation, and it literally brought me to tears because it was Easter morning, and it was an amazing rescue by our military forces. Our military has done such a fantastic job over there, taking down the Ayatollah, ending the nuclear threat from Iran, killing its funding of proxies around the world. It's been a 47-year war against the rest of the world, and for the first time we decided to give it back to them, and we're beating them into the pits of hell. This is Henry Bolton on GBN. That's Great Britain's version of Newsmax.
Incredible feat of arms. Only the Americans could have pulled this off. Only the Americans have the variety of specialized equipment to do it.
Yeah.
These guys, the parajumpers who sort of go in and do these rescues, most of the time, of course, they don't have to do this. You don't hear about this sort of thing happening very often because it doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't.
But incredibly skilled, probably amongst the best of the best in the American military.
Unreal.
Constantly training, highly professional. And trained to the to the nth degree.
It was absolutely flawless, incredible operation. But of course, this is the Democrat response. I was kind of wondering how the Democrats were going to whiz on this. This is what they do. And Hakeem Jeffries, of course, Mr. Deadeyes, did just that. And this is how he backhanded complimented our military about the rescue mission.
Well, I'm thankful that a second U.S. airman has been rescued heroically by our special forces. And we, of course, continue to pray for the safety, the health, the well-being of all of our men and women.
Who do you pray to?
Who are in uniform in a very dangerous theater of war.
And here comes the backhand.
Of course, Donald Trump has gotten us involved in this reckless war of choice without any plan, any strategic...
Oh, my God, there's plenty of plan, and we're executing it flawlessly, you idiot.
...objectives and
No, we've accomplished our objectives, and it was ending the Iran nuclear threat. Number one, by the way.
No clear exit strategy.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to get a ceasefire and get a deal. That's the exit strategy, see, because we don't have boots on the ground, so we didn't need to remove anybody from the country, you see.
Instead, billions of dollars are being spent every day to drop bombs in the Middle East.
Meanwhile, $50 billion a year are going to Medicare fraud in California alone.
When Donald Trump, as a candidate, promised to never get us involved in this type of
Yeah, nobody's caring about you, honestly. Ridiculous. Here is Jeff Johnson, former Obama official, saying, hey, it was pretty great.
This operation for the first pilot and the second pilot was a remarkable exercise, demonstration of U.S. military courage, technology, power. I would encourage the president.
Remember the guy who flew the helicopter in to get Maduro, and he got shot, his leg almost shot off, and he stayed conscious to fly the soldiers in his helicopter to land. This is American heroism, people. America is so back.
Secretary of Defense, consistent with operational security, share as much of that with the American public so that the American public can appreciate what goes into this kind of operation is more complicated than the bin Laden operation, for example.
Wow.
I'm not sure any of that.
That's saying something.
Yeah, more complicated than getting bin Laden, and we did it flawlessly. It was absolutely remarkable. When we got bin Laden, we lost a helicopter. That happened there, so, that kind of happened. It was kind of cool. And like I said, of course, the media this is a time of a military conflict. We're up against a military that has killed thousands of Americans using improvised explosives, outright terror attacks, and of course have paid proxy terrorist groups around the world to commit acts of terror against us and our allies, untold amount of damage and all of that. And of course, Donald Trump used coarse language yesterday, and that got all the media butthurt about it, particularly Jake Tapper.
But if you were wondering how the success of that operation might affect the president's posture toward Iran moving forward, wonder no longer. He has just threatened Iran in extraordinary graphic terms, giving the Iranian...
Extraordinarily graphic terms. Not so much, actually. I've used a lot more cursing. Just putting together a piece of IKEA furniture.
...regime just over a day to either make a deal, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or face hell. If your children are watching, be warned.
Hide your children. Hide your children. The president is going to use some poopy language.
The president did not use polite language.
It's the same language your dad uses when he's in the garage and doesn't think you're listening.
Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran.
Yeah.
There will be nothing like it.
Yeah.
Open the strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell.
There you go.
Just watch.
And this is where Jake suggested Donald Trump is going to commit a war crime.
We should note that destroying civilian power infrastructure is generally considered to constitute a war crime under international law, though the president could argue that the infrastructure has dual use and also is utilized by Iran's military.
That's exactly right, actually. And, of course, they also have no regard for murdering civilians at schools and stuff, so... There is that. And then, of course, this is your Democrat Party.
We have to Trump. Please don't tell my children that I just did that.
You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow. You mustard.
All Donald Trump was saying it was open the effing Straits of Hormuz or we'll drive you into hell, you bastards.
They're trying to rob you, and they're probably a minor.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here. I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
Oh, which side are you on?
Yeah, you people are nuts. You are just nuts. Pay no attention to those people behind the curtain. They're just a bunch of idiots. I swear to God. Here's the President of the United States talking, and I haven't had a chance to screen this. I just saw it was running this morning. At the Easter egg roll, you may recall that 2 years ago, 2024, Joe Biden, Easter was the Trans Day of Visibility.
Today on Trans Day of Visibility, we celebrate the trans individuals in our communities and recognize their struggles for recognition and increasingly survival.
From all of us here at the Department of Education, happy Trans Day of Visibility.
Each year on March 31st, we celebrate transgender Americans and all that they have accomplished.
Yeah, that was Easter, literally.
Transgender Day of Visibility.
Easter last year, they did the Trans Day of Visibility, 2024, I guess. And then, of course, one of the transgendered individuals who had breast implants decided to show her they's breasts to everyone. I mean, really, honestly, that was Easter with the kids looking for the eggs and everything during Joe Biden's presidency. And, of course, Joe Biden had to be led off the White House grounds by the Easter Bunny. So there was that.
And what about the rescue that took place yesterday? What about?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, wasn't it?
It's something that you rarely see. You know, they were giving me a briefing about that, and they said normally when you're in very hostile territory, and I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran.
Yeah, well, it's kind of off mic there, so I won't play the entire soundbite. But, you know, yesterday was something else, man. I hope your Easter was like mine. I got to tell you, it was something else. I'm going to share with you some pretty crazy stuff that's happened to me in the last week and culminated in yesterday. I got a little nudge from God, and I think, and I do believe, and I've heard from more than one person. I saw Batya Unger Sargon. She says, can you feel it? Can you feel good putting evil back on its heels? And I can. The left is bent guano crazy. They've done everything they can to destroy the country. But yesterday there was just this. I swear to God, there were so many people out yesterday. All the churches around the block, there were people waiting to get in, and there was so much fellowship and so much good. And then the Easter miracle of these two pilots being saved. And the Democrat Party can say nothing good about it except, yeah, it was a good job, but, you know, we wouldn't have to get in this gosh darn conflict, blah, blah, even though they killed 35,000 of their own people. And, of course, have been waging war on the U.S. and the rest of the world for 47 years. They can't even take time to celebrate that, and that's why I say they're doing a death spiral into hell. So we got a lot of stuff to get to on the show. James Rosen's going to join us from Newsmax. Also, Tony Schaefer, Lieutenant Colonel's going to be talking about Operation Epic Fury, the possibility of a ceasefire, etc. All of that, including your phone calls, 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show. This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation guides, and gratuities. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your D.C. getaway today, or give our friends at Cruise and Tour a call at 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131 or travelwithrob.net.
Bob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
I came out and I expected we were going to be talking about farmers, and we love our farmers. We were going to talk about so many different products, but you know what they want to talk about?
What's that?
Sir, this is about eggs.
Eggs.
Eggs. Because we have the egg farmers of the entire country here, and they are unbelievable. And if you remember, when I first got elected, my first news conference with the fake news, a lot of fake news here today, but I had a news conference, and the first question, what are you going to do about eggs, sir? I said, what's wrong with eggs? I just got there. It's my second day in office. I had a news conference, and they were screaming at me, what am I going to do about eggs?
They were.
Then I said, well, it's like, tell me what's wrong with eggs. The price was so high. It was 4 times higher than it was a year before. I said, well, that sounds like a problem. Let me think about it. And Brooke Rollins, our great Secretary of Agriculture, she got involved. We all got involved. They didn't want me, as you know, just last year, it's hard to believe, they didn't want me to order eggs for the Easter egg roll, the Easter egg hunt that we have here every year. They wanted me to use plastic.
Yes.
I said, I'm not using plastic. We'll get it solved. And within a short period of time, eggs came down. They came down 40%, 50%. And by the time we got there, we had so many eggs, we didn't know what to do.
There you go. Yeah, they're down 80% since Joe Biden was the president. Yeah. There you go. You know, I don't know if any news agencies covered that story yesterday. But there you go. That's Donald Trump this morning at the Easter egg roll on the White House grounds. Always a lot of fun. I've never had the opportunity to go, but I would love to do it sometime. Would love to do it sometime. The rescue of 2 American pilots yesterday was just a beautiful way to start Easter. Just a beautiful way to begin the day, to see a flawless operation and Americans rescued, and there were, everybody and their brother was over there, which over there means husband also, in Iran. We're after him. The military even put a bounty, but there were some Iranians who actually C-blocked the military from going there, crowding roads to keep the vehicles from going by, and all of this. So we had some friendlies on the ground over there, and ultimately we had both pilots rescued. The second pilot, they got this kind of a GPS sensor that doesn't do voice because it's easy to track. It has encrypted notes, and ultimately we sent in a couple of planes and got him out. Here's General Frank McKenzie talking about the amazing rescue.
So I think I'd draw 2 lessons from it, Ed. First of all, the excellence of the joint force, our ability to rapidly pivot to look for a downed air crewman. We train for this endlessly. It's a part of every time we send air crew over enemy territory. We have detailed, elaborate plans to go get them. It's a very basic part of who we are as American fighting men and women.
Yeah, don't leave anybody behind. It's pretty amazing. Didn't do that in Benghazi when Hillary Clinton was in charge of the State Department, did we? No. People just died. Didn't send them any help. They ended up dying in a firefight. A couple of Americans and an ambassador got killed that night. Here is Ro Khanna saying that despite the obvious overwhelming of the awful and evil Iranian regime's military, sinking its entire navy, destroying its missile silos and capability generally, there's a few being launched here and there, destroying Iran's nuclear capability, creating a nuclear weapon, putting it on a missile that can go thousands of miles, maybe even reach the American shore. He says we need a statesman like Obama. Remember when Obama sent pallets of cash to the Ayatollahs? Well, they spent it to build missiles and stuff.
Would you be okay, though, with leaving Iran without the Strait of Hormuz being reopened? President Trump has set that deadline for Monday, saying there are going to be significant consequences if it's not reopened.
Let me tell you what won't reopen the Strait of Hormuz: threatening war crimes of bombing indiscriminately power plants.
No, you're absolutely wrong. It will open the Straits of Hormuz.
Cursing at Iran.
Oh, my God, cursing. Seriously, you guys, you literally have some of your politicians running for office on the campaign of F Trump.
Well, we need a statesmanship like President Obama.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we needed statesmanship like Obama, which got us into this now.
What we need to do is to stop the bombing, have a ceasefire, and then to work with Oman, to work with China, to work with the Gulf allies and European allies to have a solution to allow Hormuz to be open. But it's not going to happen.
No, actually, This is an interesting piece from M.A. Rothman about the Straits of Hormuz. The conventional criticism is that Trump was too slow to open Hormuz. The reality is Trump is deliberately withholding the American security guarantee at the moment of maximum stress, not because he can't clear the strait, but because he's doing so too quickly would let Europe go back to sleep. Yeah, for decades, Western allies built their economies and green energy mandates on a silent assumption American carriers would always appear off Hormuz. They ran down their militaries, underfunded NATO. The U.S. carries 60% of all combined NATO defense spending and lectured Washington about multilateralism from the comfort of a security blanket they never paid for. March 15th, he told the world that countries receiving oil through Hormuz should take care of that passage. And the initial response was exactly this. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kaleh said there is no appetite in the United States to join Trump's Hormuz coalition. This is not Europe's war. Then the pain arrived. Oil surged above $70 to $100 a barrel. Tanker traffic sailed or stopped through the Strait of Hormuz. 70%, over 150 ships anchored outside waiting for safe passage. European energy prices spiked. 2 weeks later, April 2nd, over 40 nations announced a coalition to secure the strait. See, this is brilliant, and every time you guys come up with something, Donald Trump throws it down. Just completely destroys your narrative. This is Condi Rice. Condi Rice talking about why Donald Trump has done all of this after Obama's diplomacy did a faceplant.
Which is, we have been at war with this regime for 47 years, or they have been at war with us for 47 years.
Yeah.
And when people say, well, we should wait until they were an imminent threat, these people, Bob Gates was the note taker for Zbig Brzezinski when Carter sent Brzezinski to meet the regime. Yeah. And after they came to power. And Brzezinski said to them, we'll recognize you. They said, give us the Shah, who was undergoing medical treatment in the United States.
This is the meeting in Algeria between...
This is the meeting in Algeria.
Yeah.
Brzezinski said, Americans don't do that. And 3 days later, they sacked our embassy.
Yeah, they did.
And kept our diplomats for 444 days.
Yeah, 444.
Their tentacles, Hezbollah, killed 241 Marines in Lebanon.
Yeah.
They have a price on the head of the President of the United States, former Presidents of the United States, former Secretaries of State. And if you ask what percentage of American deaths in Iraq, before we were able to put more protection around our troops, people will give you estimates from 70 to 75% from IEDs and roadside.
Yeah, there's a body count. They've been waging war against us, and it's a really good thing that Donald Trump is doing what he's doing, because Barack Obama and other weak-kneed politicians, they got us into this. So guess what? Now it's over. Let's take a break and come back. James Rosen from Newsmax joins us on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 a.m. on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed.
Well, top of the morning to you. I'm Ronald O'Reagan.
And I'm Ted O. Kennedy.
when Irish eyes are bloodshot. Bloodshot. You've had one too many drinks. Well, your speech started slurring, and your breath begins to sting. Take it away, Ted O'Kennedy. When Irish guys are driving, when they're drunk and leaving town, well, they might swerve right into a lake and let their girlfriend drown. When I returned, Mary Jo and the car were gone. Yes, Teddy, that was like what, one day later? You are correct, Ronald Reagan. You know, I needed a fresh set of clothes for the cameras. I had to sleep it off, sober up. Oh, sure, just let the mother of your unborn child die right there in the lake. No need to investigate
that. Tehran's leaders are crumbling. They're being taken out. Their headquarters are crumbling as the U.S. shows its clout. And that should tell them time to surrender. Call it a day before our troops blow you away. Throw in the towel while you still can, or you'll be down to your last man. More new missiles they were making, with more nukes deployed. Down the sites they have been taken, and we are overjoyed. They ought to know it's time to surrender. White flag should wave. Soon will be nothing left to save. Tehran's leaders are crumbling. They're being taken out. Their headquarters are crumbling as the U.S. shows its clout. And that should tell them time to surrender. Call it a day before our troops blow you away. Throw in the towel while you still can, or you'll be down to your last man. More new missiles they were making.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's buffering. The Beatles are buffering. The introduction that I had planned here for James Rosen has been stopped by buffering, but I think you get the point. I think you get the point. Oh, there we go. All right, so there we go. We got a little more Beatles music in the background because he's one of the. He calls himself a Beatles freak. I just call him a freak. He is Chief Washington Correspondent for Newsmax, James Rosen. How are you today?
I'm great, Rob, and I'll have you know that Beatles freak is one level above historian, Beatles historian.
I'll tell you what, the interesting thing here, one of the many interesting things about having you on the show is you've actually you've made me a bigger Beatles fan, man, because I'm always sending James stuff and fun, and every once in a while he'll go, I hadn't seen that. I'm like, yes.
Yes, I've actually ruined the Beatles for a number of people, including Mrs. Rosen. So
yeah, well, I would imagine.
I'm grateful that you still have some enthusiasm.
Will you just shut up about the damn Beatles? No, I always find little interesting things, and now, of course, that I've expressed an interest, it's showing up all over my timeline, so I feel that I'm obliged to share it with you. So anyway, how's things going in the D.C. Bureau? There's obviously not a lot of news today. The White House egg roll is happening today. Have you been down? Did you go down?
I did not. I've been in past years.
Yeah.
Today I'm working out of our newsroom in Washington and tracking the exploits of the astronauts in space aboard the Artemis 2 mission to the lunar orbit.
Something
and
else.
Today,
yes,
they are set to make history. They are going to beat by about 4,000 miles the previous record set by human beings for the longest distance ever traveled by human beings.
Wow.
And today they'll add about 4,000 miles to the previous record, which was set back in 1972, and that was 248,655 miles from the Earth. So they're going to bring that to about 252,000 miles. Really a day for all human beings to be proud, but especially those from the United States and Canada, where the astronauts hail from.
This really was a boost for NASA. NASA had been bruised and battered, a couple of space shuttle tragedies. Then, of course, they softballed the entire program. And then, of course, Elon Musk has been doing some amazing things. SpaceX, they're saying, could be launching 1,000 rockets a year. And this was quite simply unbelievable. This rocket actually taller than the one that the Saturn V rocket that they sent to the moon. And so it's pretty amazing. I'm not old enough to remember the lunar landing and all that. I think you're a couple years older than me. Do you remember that? Do you remember the excitement of America going to the moon? Because it really was something else, considering that, in my phone I have 10 times the computing power that NASA had completely at that time.
And we drink far less Tang than the astronauts of the previous generation.
Yes,
but,
yes.
No, I was too young to appreciate the first moon landing of July 20, 1969.
Yeah.
But this really is exciting, and it couldn't take place at a more opportune moment in terms of the upheavals and the rancor that we see here on Earth.
Yeah.
And it's been quite something to see Victor Glover, the astronaut who is a native of California, speaking in really humanistic terms, talking about how, out here in space, it's vast emptiness, it's a big chunk of nothing. And he said, we have this incredible big blue marble, this oasis.
Can I play the audio from him? Would you mind if I shared a little of the audio? Because it's pretty great.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. I think these observances are important. And as we are so far from Earth and looking back at, the beauty of creation, I think for me, one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And, when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. I think maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you, and I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together.
Well, I got to tell you, that is just something else. I'm kind of I'm as much a science and physics and astronomy buff as you are Beatles buff. Oddly enough, I know I probably don't sound intelligent enough, but I read a lot of Sagan and Asimov and others, and the distance we're going to travel is 685,000 miles, which is the furthest when this mission is all over that we've ever been. That takes light 3.6 seconds to go. The Milky Way galaxy, it takes light 150,000 years to cross. Gives you an idea how small we are. Gives you an idea that all that matters is here and now. That's what I came up this weekend, James.
And this mission is intended to set up another that is scheduled to take place 2 years from now, also in the Artemis set of missions. And that will be, if it goes successfully, the first time since 1972 that astronauts will actually return to the lunar surface. This mission that's underway currently, they're basically boomeranging around the moon, which is farther than any human being has ever traveled. And they're going to get a first-hand look at the dark side of the moon, or the far side of the moon.
Yes.
Again, a first for human eyes. And then they're going to come around the moon, and the gravity from the moon, they won't really need to set their course. It's going to basically hurtle them back to the Earth, and they're expected to land in the Pacific Ocean on Sunday. And so, again, the majority of what they're doing right now is testing the systems to make sure that they are good to go for 2 years from now, when we will actually return human beings to the lunar surface.
Unbelievable. And Donald Trump is also beta testing Trump Resort and Casino on the moon. They're having issues with the low gravity and the roulette wheel. The ball doesn't drop into the slots as easy as it does. That's the only thing they're really working on right now.
This brings to mind the line from Godfather 2, players can't get a seat at the table. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
You don't talk to an astronaut like Mo Green like that, Rob.
No. A lot of other things going on, and we'll cover a little bit here, and then actually we better do it now because you got to get out at 45. Let's talk real quick about what's happened with Iran. Iran is playing hardball, even though they really are not in a position to negotiate anything. No ceasefire thus far. Donald Trump, he said he's using profanity, going to blow the snot out of it, essentially. What's happening right now?
Well, we're expecting a news conference from President Trump at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, so a short time from now. He spoke briefly at the Easter egg roll, and then again to reporters in a brief gaggle after his remarks. Probably President Trump is the only president you'd get who schedules a news conference and then talks to the press twice before then on the same day. Look, he's going to answer. He's going to face questions about that profane Truth Social post from over the weekend, where he basically said Tuesday was going to be the day where we start blowing up power plants and bridges. And then he said, open the expletives straight, you crazy expletives, or you'll live in hell, and then said, praise be Allah. And this, of course, was issued, this message on social media on Easter Sunday, quite unlike any other presidential communication, written presidential communication we've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. We're also dealing with the regime that's been murdering Americans for 47 years. Before we go, I do want to mention your book because, and I was just reading about some of the reviews on it, and it really sounds fascinating. Scalia, Supreme Court years 1986 to 2001 on hardcover right now on Amazon. Real quick, tell us about the book.
Well, you're kind to do so. Thank you, Rob. This is the second installment in a 3-volume biography of Antonin Scalia, the Supreme Court Justice. You'll get the law and how he changed the law and why he's one of the most important Americans of the last 100 years. I'd put him up with any inventor or president or Babe Ruth or anyone. But you'll also get the man, the devout Catholic, the colleague with these justices where his relationships were sometimes contentious. And you'll get the wit and humor of the man. If you want to understand modern America and how we got here, you can do no better than buying these books. The first volume came out 3 years ago, Scalia, Rise to Greatness. This one covers the first half of his Supreme Court tenure. It's called Scalia, Supreme Court Years 1986 to 2001.
Well, very good, James. I appreciate you. Have a glorious rest of your day. I appreciate your time today. James Rosen from Newsmax. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Rob.
You're absolutely. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Got about on time.
EVM.
It's a Monday edition of the Rob Carson Show. We've got much to get to as the show progresses. 800-922-6680. Yesterday was Easter. I want to tell you a little story about a man named Jed. No, actually, just what happened to me the last week. My faith has suffered over the years, depending on the things that have happened in my life. And last week I had mentioned that I think I got a little nudge from God. I go to the dry cleaners and fastened on one of my jackets was a package, and it said this. The lady said, "You found this in your pocket," and it's a little white Bible. It literally could fit in the palm of your hand, and I said, "Okay, thank you," but I never had seen it before in my life. And I opened it up, and the passages reflected some things that are going on in my life. And I'm not having a crisis of faith, but certainly need a little nudge. And so I shared the video of this last week, and then this weekend I was out, and Sunday morning I woke up and I felt like maybe going to church. I haven't been to the Catholic Church or Catholic Mass since my mother died. So yesterday I decided that I was going to maybe go, and so I got a little dressed up, not really dressed up, and got out and got in my truck and started driving to work. I was going to go to work, swing by the church, possibly, we'll see. So I drive by the church. It's just packed. There's no space on the streets at all. Literally, you'd have to park a mile away to get into this little church, right? I want to tell you this real quick. I've got a biological family I just discovered about 8 years ago. I got a first cousin named Kennedy. She's in her 20s. She works for the DHS, and my niece, Amy, is my half-sister's daughter, right? Amy came to D.C. a few weeks ago, and I had dinner with her and this great charity she works for, because her daughter has a profound version of autism as well as some other disorders. Anyway, that said, I go by the church and there's no parking. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just not go to church. So I drive toward work, and there was just this overwhelming sense that I needed to go. So I turned around and I drove back down about another mile or so back to the church, and I drove by the church, and right in front of the church, the best parking spot opened in front of the door. In front of the door. So I pulled up, backed in, and walked in. It was packed. There were 8 or 10 people deep after the pews. And I stood there, and I felt joy and sadness at the same time. Joy that I was there, sadness that I haven't been there. And was offered the sign of peace. That was always my favorite part of the Catholic Mass, was let us offer each other the sign of peace. Always my favorite thing when I was a kid, because I'm kind of this way, I'm social. And I met a bunch of people, and all of a sudden I look up and I see this very pretty young woman walking down the side of the church, and it's my cousin Kennedy, who I've only seen one time since I came to D.C., and she lives in Washington, D.C. And that morning, Sunday morning, she felt the urge to go to church and decided she'd go to this little church in Alexandria, Virginia that she's never been to. So I hug her, and the embrace was powerful. It was just like, wow, you're here, and both of us. And I ended up going out to lunch with her and her boyfriend. We go to this restaurant, and there's this little guy kind of has, I think he's on the spectrum, and he's walking around a table. He's got a big bag of these little rubber ducks, and he's just handing them out to people on Easter as a little gift. And I said, would you take a tip? And he goes, oh, sure. So I had a couple fives in my wallet, and I gave it to him. And I said, thank you. And all of a sudden, there's this really pretty kind of woman, a couple years older than me, sitting at the table nearby. She gets up, she comes over, and she goes, I want to thank you for doing that. I never have any money, and I just want to thank you for doing that. And I said, well, thank you. And I said, you look familiar. And she goes, well, I was on a show a few years ago. She was on The Golden Bachelor, right? She was on The Golden Bachelor. And I said, okay, I don't know, but I know I've seen you before. And so anyway, she just thanked me, and I thanked her, and I gave her my card, and I go home. And later that day, I decided to look at this person who was on The Golden Bachelor, and I look on Instagram, and I see her, and I click on her profile, and at the very top is featured as one of her followers and friends, my cousin Amy, who lives, my niece Amy, in Kansas City. It was just odd that happened. It was just odd. But there's no doubt I felt an undeniable push to attend Mass. And I'm going to tell you, I feel it. I told you this, and I mentioned earlier, Batya Ungar-Sargon, she did a commentary about it. She says, you can feel it. You can feel this revival. You can feel this good, and we're going to win. We are going to win. The Democrat Party has just been terrible. The left has been awful. They have sided with evil, and I've told you for years now that we are the reaction to the action of evil, and it's happening, and it's happening, and it's happening. Evil is not going quietly into the night. There's still a fight. But the things that have culminated in the last week of my life, I know that I'm getting a little nudge. So I just want you to know, it's recommitted me to the principles of this radio program, which are entertain, inform, and motivate people to do good. Entertain, inform, and motivate people to do good. And I've also said that faith, patriotism, joy, and faith are sweeping the globe. Faith in God, a Judeo-Christian God. Something is happening. We are on a tiny grain of sand in the universe, and all that matters is here and now, and we've got to make the here and now the best possible that they can be. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Isn't that crazy? I was just overwhelmed with emotion at the church. I sat back there, had tears streaming down my eyes. People are probably, what's the deal with you? And the priest did a brilliant job. No politics, no bullcrap, just beautifully articulated thoughts. Brilliant speaker, brilliant articulate speaker. And I met so many people, guys. I met so many people. The Lord's working on you, Shelby. Thank you. Go to church. Yeah, Dagwood. I know that my life needed a little nudge because I wasn't living to my potential, and it's recommitted me to living the best life that I can for him and for you. There you go. Sometimes, maybe I take some big. I take a lot from things that happen, but I believe God is talking to you, Rob. His peace is what holds you up. Praying for your health too. Thank you. Oh, the bunny costume. I gotta talk about the bunny costume. That was funny. All right, I gotta talk here, guys. We're in this together. We're in this together. We are warriors. 100%. We are warriors, and we are in for a fight. But victory is the only option. Victory is the only option. Okay, I got to talk here.
Talk. Only
there we go.
Radio 680
Time for me to talk.
WCBM and 99.9 FM in Harford County.
Give that 310 here.
I'll just close on the thought of what happened to me in the last week and culminating in Easter. I was not, I believe that there's a reason why I'm here in Washington, D.C., and my marriage ended despite, getting sober and changing my life. And I always said that my most prized accomplishments were my marriage, my family, and my studio. And the family and the marriage fell apart, and I had to move the studio. And I moved to Washington, D.C., and took the biggest risk of my life, professionally and otherwise. And I don't believe I was of living up to the potential that maybe God had planned for me. Had a few things happen, a few bumps that caused me to kind of get separated from him a little bit, and I got a little nudge. Thank you. October 25th through the 29th, 5 days, 4 nights. You guys are coming here. We got this trip that we set up with Cruise and Tour. I got a guy I know in Kansas City, got not very well. He says, I booked my tickets, Rob, coming to see you in Washington, D.C. There's a reason why we're here at this moment. There's a reason why we're here at this space and time as we do a baptism by fire of the federal government's corruption and reinvent the country to save it for another 250 years. And now you can come here. Maybe it's the dream of your lifetime to come here. Well, let's do it now, because Donald Trump is only going to be the president during the 250th anniversary of America once. So you're going to get a U.S. Capitol building tour, Arlington National Cemetery, changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering statue of Abraham Lincoln, the reflecting pole, the Washington Monument, all of the war memorials that will leave you breathless, the World War II memorial, the only memorial that really puts into perspective the size and scope of World War II. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations, 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, and gratuities. Go to travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net. When you see the brochure they're going to send you, the digital brochure, you're going to go, oh my gosh, Rob Carson is so good looking. Then after you do that, you're going to go, whoa, this trip looks amazing. So travelwithrob.net to book your getaway. Our friends at Cruise and Travel are doing this for us, and this is a very special moment in time, a very serendipitous moment in time, that the 250th anniversary of this country is happening, that we are going the furthest we ever have in space. It's going to be glorious. 800-383-3131, 800-383-3131, travelwithrob.net. I'm going to take a couple days off to be with you when you come here. I want to welcome you here. This is your capital, all right? Let's take a break and come back. Tony Schaefer, Lieutenant Colonel, joins us to talk about Iran, among other things, on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. I hope you had a glorious Easter weekend. Also, my Jewish brothers and sisters, an awesome Passover as well. The city of Houston deletes a tweet referring to Easter as a spring holiday. Yeah, the city of government of Houston, Texas, one of the target of a national outrage after an announcement that its offices would be closed on Friday in observance of the spring holiday. The city deleted the post from social media platform X, but by then the damage had already been done. You know, honestly, how about shut up? Dear Lord, Newsmax Todd Starnes, one of those calling out the disrespect to Good Friday, the holiest day on the Christian calendar. He compared it to Houston's treatment of Eid al-Eid, which marks the end of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan Lingdong. Notice the difference in how Houston City Hall celebrates a Christian holiday to a Muslim holiday. 100%. That's the way the left is. But I hope you had a great Easter. I ended up watching and renting. I rented. All right, why would I have to rent this? But I had to rent it. I rented the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston and all of that. I watched that last night. It was pretty cool. It really was. It was pretty cool. Yeah, really, really good. Really enjoyed watching that again. I thought about watching The Passion of the Christ, but I can't. It's just so brutal. It is. When I saw that movie, I saw it in Omaha, Nebraska. I was auditioning for a radio station there. And they filled a theater, this is 2004, I believe, filled a theater, 500 people to watch that. And when the movie was over, everyone sat there in stunned silence, weeping. It's an amazing movie. The scene, the Garden of Gethsemane, in that movie was just breathtaking. So there you go. So let's get on with what's going on in the world. Of course, Donald Trump sent out an obscene tweet. That's just the end all. Oh my God, Donald Trump said poopy words when he was, talking about destroying the Iranian regime that has murdered 35,000 of its own people. The mainstream media, the liberal media, said nothing about Iran killing 35,000 of its own people in the last couple of months. Nothing about the 47 years of terror. So Donald Trump says, open the effing Strait of Hormuz, or I'm going to, whatever he said. It was obscene, whatever, who cares? Remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out 40 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory to God, there's what he said. And the media is just absolutely freaking out because it's just a reaction. They're looking for anything to tear down the success of this mission. Does Donald Trump use terse language? Yeah. Is this new? I mean, really, is this really new? Is this what you're going to hang your hat on? Because it's never stuck before. Here's MS now.
They just want to fly under the radar and hope that he doesn't tweet about them or truth about them. It's all about their self-preservation. And so, no, I don't expect that. I would like to see that. But it's usually only just, one or two people in either chamber, and it's usually, very, very muted. This is outrageous behavior from this president.
Not really, considering 97% of the press coverage of Donald Trump has been negative for a decade now. People have been calling him Hitler, Nazi, fascist, and pedophile, and all of that. And of course, Iran's been murdering Americans and maiming them for decades.
And I know that we've said it before on this show and others that if President Biden or President Obama had said anything remotely like this, it would be nonstop coverage on every...
Yeah, it would be fawning coverage that they were talking tough, which they never do, because they're wusses. Meanwhile, this is your Democrat Party.
Get out!
Yeah, you go ahead and criticize the way he spoke, and he dropped the F-bomb. I mean, honestly, wow, that's what you got. That's what you got. This is Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg talking about the overwhelming success of Operation Epic Fury.
Very much. Look, what this really tells me is something that I haven't seen in my...
Yeah, but Donald Trump dropped the F-bomb. Yeah, but he's also dropped about 10,000 other bombs.
...generation on the rules of engagement is the president is going after everything. It's full, it's full speed ahead. They're taking out targets most of us hadn't thought about. There's a huge target list out there, and there's no restrictions.
Yeah.
And the president...
He actually uncuffed those in charge of the military and let them do what they do, and look what they've done.
That's right, about winning. There is no doubt in my mind that we're destroying every target we want to get to. And Brett just came on a minute ago, and he's probably the drone king of the world out there. And we're just using things that we hadn't used before and going after these targets, like the LUCAS system, which is a drone system that we reverse engineered from the Shahed 136. That's got basically a huge warhead on it.
Yeah, we've never done anything like this. It's remarkable. It's amazing to watch. Representative Mike Turner talking about Trump versus Obama with regard to the nuclear programs that have been ended by Donald Trump.
What's important here is that the inevitability of this conflict, as we look from the beginning, which was the issue, of course, Iran pursuing its nuclear ambitions, and from the beginning of the president saying that we're going to truncate those. We had Obama step in and say with his nuclear enrichment deal, we're just going to step back and watch as Iran continues to get closer and closer.
Because he was a complete wimp, and he gave them hundreds of millions of dollars, which they converted into weapons, and the people didn't get any of it.
To nuclear weapon. This president saying, no, we're going to take military action to stop them from doing so. Now with this intervention, the president saying we're going to intervene to stop their ability to have...
Yeah, but he used the F-bomb. Oh, my gosh, oh, my gosh, oh, my gosh. This is a little comparison between Barack Obama, who sent billions of dollars to the Iranian regime, and literally, I mean, tens of billions of dollars freed up by Joe Biden, which they used for weapons. They were on the verge of becoming an unstoppable force with regard to being able to shoot down weapons or planes or missiles coming into Iran. So they were about to become a force that we wouldn't have been able to take down so readily.
Inspectors will monitor Iran's key nuclear facilities 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
How'd that work for you?
For decades to come, inspectors will have access to Iran's entire nuclear supply chain.
No, they did not one little bit.
In other words, if Iran tries to cheat, if they try to build a bomb covertly, we will catch them.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is this. Whereas Iran was steadily expanding its nuclear program.
Yeah, and they kept going, especially after you gave them all that money.
We have now cut off every single path that Iran could have used to build a bomb.
No, you're wrong.
Whereas it would have taken Iran 2 to 3 months to break out with enough material.
Neville Chamberlain is alive and well.
To rush to a bomb. We've now extended that breakout time to a year.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just a year. So he's saying they still have the capability to get a bomb, but we've made it a year from now.
And with the world's unprecedented inspections and access to Iran,
which we're not allowed.
Iran's program will know if Iran ever tries to break out.
And they did.
Now that Iran's actions have been verified.
Now this is where he gives them money.
It can begin to receive relief from certain nuclear sanctions and gain access.
Tens of billions of dollars.
To its own money that had been frozen.
Yeah, should have been.
And perhaps most important of all.
What?
We've achieved this historic progress through diplomacy.
You did nothing.
Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015.
He did, yeah.
I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years.
Yeah, and diplomacy doesn't work because they view diplomacy as an opportunity to manipulate the West, and that's what they do. They lie. That's what they do. Donald Trump's requesting a $400 billion increase in the defense budget and asking for a 10% across-the-board cut for general spending because our government is bloated and corrupt. And, of course, Ro Khanna says no friggin' way.
Any scenario where you would support new funding if it was determined necessary for the readiness of the military?
No, I'm not supporting new funding. I mean, they're asking for $400 billion.
Yeah.
I know you asked Senator Kaine and Representative Lawler. The answer for every Democrat should be absolutely no.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden got $1.5 trillion for green energy nonsense. Most of it was just taken. Yeah. And then, of course, there's a whole lot of fraud.
What we found since President Trump came into office is that the Democrats have set up a system to funnel hundreds of billions and ultimately trillions of dollars to migrants that are in our country, oftentimes from places like Somalia.
Yeah.
So as an example, ICE recently...
$400 billion to our military is a drop in the bucket compared to the fraud that's been taking place across the country.
Asked a group of illegal immigrants that were in detention whether or not they were receiving Medicaid. Half of them raised their hands and volunteered that they were on Medicaid.
Now, coming up, I've got some amazing audio. Dr. Oz, they have raided and shut down 200 of these fake hospice charities or offices in the city of Los Angeles. When you hear about the number of them that were involved and the amount of money that were involved and what it meant to them and what it meant to Democrats, it's going to shock you. It's going to shock you. I've got that also. I've got a winning update. You know, we got the winning jingle that everybody loves so much. I got some winning stuff. Some really positive and amazing things that are happening in America. Coming up, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Deported. Deported. Deported.
Get him out. Ready? Are you ready? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Deported. Deported. Deported.
Get him out. Ready? Are you ready? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get the hell out of here.
free joint?
Shit.
Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's exactly what it's all about. Here is, let me see if I can find this here. Dr. Oz. I'm going to hang on to it. I don't have the soundbite ready that I want to be able to play you, so I'm going to go ahead with everybody's favorite jingle. This is the most popular jingle on the Rob Carson show. Actually, I think it's the only one we have. But you guys love it, absolutely.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning. Lots of winning, lots of winning, lots of winning, lots of winning, lots of winning. It's oh so good.
You know, we didn't get a chance to talk about it much on Friday because these were breaking numbers, but even CNN had to say, holy cow, the Good Friday jobs numbers were freaking crazy.
I mean, the expectation was, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Yeah, I know. It was absolutely incredible. Here's Fox Biz.
This is one heck of a report, folks.
I know.
Wow is right,
pretty cool.
Steve Moore.
This is why Democrats are, mad because Donald Trump dropped the F-bomb when he was talking about our enemies in Iran. Oh, yeah, really?
Farm jobs coming in 178,000. 178,000.
Yeah, the most jobs that were created under Joe Biden were government jobs.
The expectation was 60,000, folks. The unemployment rate went down to 4.3%.
I know, it's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, and then there's this. Donald Trump signed an executive order to make sure that the TSA was paid, even though the Democrat Party wanted more suffering because the casualties are their ammunition. And this is the busiest airport in America, Hartsfield in Atlanta.
You would never guess that it is the busiest travel day on record here at ATL, but it is. Today is expected to surpass the previous single-day record of 111,000. That was back in May of 2024. Today, they're expecting 115,000 screenings. But the airport now better equipped to handle the crowds than it has been. TSA agents went unpaid for more than a month, and around 40% of them called out of work as a result. Now, following an executive order, they've been paid, and many of them have returned. The TSA also still here getting help from ICE agents. We've seen them working the security lines this morning.
Yeah. There you go. So there's some more good news. Oh, and this is kind of crazy, because everybody's saying, oh, yeah, the Democrats are definitely going to take the Senate. Oh, yeah, definitely. The midterm's going to be a bloodbath, Really? Then why are the Democrats' approval numbers below that of the Republicans?
Let's just take a look at this. Net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006 on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate.
Yeah, well, not going to happen because they're not running on anything. Oh, also in Cuba, they're freeing a lot of prisoners as a goodwill gesture because the government's about to fall.
Ex-prisoners walk free hours after the communist-led Cuban government announced a sweeping amnesty on Friday. It has coincided with the most intense pressure campaign applied by Washington in decades.
Wow.
The US said it was closely monitoring whether those it deems to be political prisoners would be among those freed. That has long been a major sticking point in negotiations between Washington and Havana.
And we got the greatest Secretary of State ever, Marco Rubio, absolutely kicking butt. Freedom to Iran, freedom to Cuba, freedom to Venezuela. All of the things that I foretold when Donald Trump was running for president and the deep state was trying to take him off the ballot, put him in jail, take his fortune, raid his home, and then murder him ultimately. So there's that. And then, of course, what happened last week, flying to the moon for the first time in about 57 years. Here's Jim Gossett as the president.
We're flying to the moon.
Wow.
Artemis is in the air. First time in half a century, we've sent a spacecraft there. In other words, we'll check it out.
That's pretty cool, actually. The pictures right now are amazing.
In other words, we'll test Orion.
Crazy.
When we land on the moon, there will be a great debate. Should we make the moon the 51st U.S. state? The Trump Hotel, up there will be.
Come on, baby. Yeah.
A Trump Hotel. Mar-a-Lago North.
Why the heck not?
Wait. And.
See.
There
you go. Jim Gossett. Jim Gossett, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to help him out, go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy, if you would. It is here is Dr. Oz talking about all of the fraud that's happening, and we'll get more into this in a little while. But this is something he has discovered. This is one of the reasons why they called Elon Musk a Nazi when he was going to be put in charge of Doge, which was getting rid of government fraud, waste, and abuse. He was going to cut off the gravy train, and it's worse than you ever could have imagined.
Why is it that we are having so much fraud in our social services? Let me just give you a little insight.
Listen.
By federal law, if I give you Medicaid, if I qualify you for Medicaid, I must also offer you the right to vote. Wow. By law. Wow. So is it possible, this is just political patronage, run amok with federal tax dollars, that what we're really seeing is an effort to enlist people in these social programs, Medicaid, SNAP, and elsewhere, in order to get you onto the voter rolls. At the same time, I'm giving you something to get you to want to vote for me.
There you go. It is remarkable, and there was absolutely no screening at all. People signing up for these programs.
That government had been fragmented in its approach. So yesterday, the U.S. Attorney, Billy Asaili, led the charge.
In California.
You got the Office of Inspector General, the Department of Justice. You got everyone working together. We're bringing in Scott Besson in Treasury, because guess what? Bank fraud's a big part of this. And we've also got a problem that's even larger, I think, in that we had told people in the federal government for the last 4 years, under the Biden administration, don't do your job. Literally, we told people who were in charge of fraud that they should just sort of calm down. Yep. We don't want to have a big problem with this. Yep. This is not a legitimate issue. We just enroll people. We kept score in Medicare and Medicaid by looking at how many people were in the program, as opposed to were the right people in the program.
Yeah, just like they did the southern border. They allowed unscreened, unvetted people to come across the southern border by the millions. Unscreened for criminality, unscreened for terrorism, unscreened for disease, and then got them signed up for every government program possible. It expanded the size of the federal government by 40% and gave those people everything to make them vote Democrat. There's no doubt this happened. It's a damn shame that our media lacks the journalistic curiosity to pursue what is an earth-shattering amount of fraud by both political parties, but mostly by the Democrat Party, and they've done nothing about it. And it just gets worse. Honestly. More corrupt than the Soviet Union, with a $7 trillion annual budget that has been looted for years, and finally got somebody in office who's doing something about it, and hopefully some politicians are going to go to jail. Let's take a break and come back. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer to talk about Iran, epic fury on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed.
free. In libs' heads I'm living. The fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Rent-free, I'm occupying. Rosie is lying if she says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads. Because inside their heads I live. When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman. Woman.
We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday. We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday.
Why is it that we are having so much fraud in our social services? Let me just give you a little insight. By federal law, if I give you Medicaid, if I qualify you for Medicaid, I must also offer you the right to vote.
Yeah.
By law. So is it possible, this is just political patronage, run amok with federal tax dollars?
Yeah, 100% it is. 100%, there's no other excuse for it. This is what's going on in California. Gavin Newsom needs to go to prison for the rest of his bloody stinking life.
Look at this number, $146 billion. Health and Human Service officials confirmed that number to Chris Rufo as the staggering amount of fraud in a single program in Gavin Newsom's state Medicaid system. Stop and think about that. $146 billion, a single program, a single state. That is slightly more than Warren Buffett's estimated net worth. It is more than the GDP of several small countries like the Marshall Islands.
And you paid for it. You and I paid for it. Our money paid for it. There's no doubt about it. Our money did. Meanwhile, you try to get your putrid little tiny Social Security benefits,
We have Colonel Schaefer.
which are rarely enough to cover the bills. We'll get more into this in a second. I am told that Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer joins us on the Newsmax Hotline, President Project Sentinel. Hello, Mr. Colonel, or I should say Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hey, Rob, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, as always.
Excellent. So the big news yesterday was the rescue of 2 American pilots. This is a gentleman named Henry Bolton talking about it on GBN.
Incredible feat of arms. Only the Americans could have pulled this off. Only the Americans have the variety of specialized equipment to do it. These guys, the parajumpers who sort of go in and do these rescues, most of the time, of course, they don't have to do this.
Yeah, unbelievable gallantry, unbelievable bravery, and really an Easter miracle, Tony Schaefer. When you woke up yesterday morning, how did it feel to know that we got him?
Oh, well, wonderful. I had no doubt that we would be successful because the point the British guy just made is we do this. We do it very well.
Yeah.
And the last thing we're going to do is allow the Iranians some opportunity to take one of our senior pilots prisoner to parade him around or do worse. So this was something that we did that was hard, but we do hard things. Yes. We actually went into Iran, put together something called a FARP, a forward armed refueling point, 200 kilometers inside of Iran. We had boots on the ground.
Uh-huh.
And we effected a rescue based on the fact that this guy, this colonel, stuck to his training. He was trained to do what he did.
Yep.
He did it well. He hit when he had to. He came out and contacted the rescuers when he was able. And it all was a very complex, very expensive, but very effective operation.
It is remarkable, and he apparently climbed several thousand feet up a mountain and remained hidden there. I was seeing there's it looks like a walkie-talkie, but it's not. It provides encrypted messaging to the people in our military that cannot be read by the enemy. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it can't be read, but it can be detected.
Okay.
You can range find on it. So, yeah, so you had to still be limited on how much and when you communicated with us. So, yeah, it's basically a survival radio. It is something that is tested. We test these things in training to make sure they all work. We actually have exercises out west in the Nevada test range to see how we would do stuff like this. So none of this is new to the people who did it. Obviously, when you do it for real life, the stakes are way higher.
Yeah.
And again, the pilot was able to we do something. Y'all have Blaine on to talk about this too, sir. Survival, escape, evasion, and resistance training is very effective. We've been through it. It trains you how to survive for a number of days, up to a week, with pretty much nothing. And this guy, this is a full colonel, so he's no young chicken. He actually understood what he had to do. He did it, got up in the mountains, was able to get to a spot where neither side knew where he was for a while, which was good, was able to communicate during the hours of darkness and triangulate on him. Plus, I'll say this CI was pretty effective in doing some local deception operations. It kept the IRGC knowing exactly what was going on. And next thing you know, we were able to grab the guy when he was available.
Unbelievable. There was a great deal of what's the word I use? Butthurtedness by the media yesterday. Donald Trump using profanity about a country that wants to murder us and calls us the great Satan. And Donald Trump said we would blow the bleep out of you or whatever. And every guy got upset. I'm like, really, people? After all of the murder, all of the destruction, all of the injury that those SOBs have been causing over 47 years, they're going to be mad at Donald Trump for dropping an F-bomb.
Well, we got to be mad at Barack Obama for funding all this. Let me be clear on this. All the reason you see so much of the left-wing media being so voracious is because they've been paid. You've had Iranian lobbyists being paid a lot of money to work behind the scenes to make sure that when a time like this came, you have a fourth row of traitors, if you will, who are in the media, and they were betting against and hoping and trying to hope that this all went sideways so they could say, "Oh, see, America's bad and the Iranians are good," and it's horrible. Yeah. I mean, this is something we should not tolerate. I am all for freedom of speech, I'm not for foreign governments influencing our media to the point of where our media is working against the American
They really are. Our media is working against the American military and Donald Trump because they hate Donald Trump. They're literally lying. They're lying. They're saying things like we're being defeated or it was we're in a quagmire, among other things. It is utterly. I've never seen anything like this, Tony.
Yeah, and again, this was from Barack Obama and the billions of dollars they paid the Iranians. The Iranians used not 1 cent of that for its people. They put about 10% of that back to the United States via these lobbying firms. And so, again, we knew this. We knew this happened. And so, I thought the Trump folks were not maybe going out further and quicker trying to recognize and map out this disinformation campaign. I would have done that earlier if I were in charge of the intelligence organizations, because this is something we should have forecast because we knew they made the investment, and sure enough, it's happening.
Yeah, and
so
by the way,
we need to actually...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you.
No, I was going to say, we have to be ahead of this sort of thing when we know it's going to happen.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with the President of the United States using salty language against the enemy after 47 years of... listen, you ever watch Patton, for God's sake? You ever watch that? Yeah. Every other word was SOB. Honest. Listen, we're at war here. War is very big and very ugly, and those guys are Satan's minions over there, and they've been committing acts of terror around the world. I don't give a flying rip. I'd rather have a president that uses obscenity and riles things up than somebody who says, we'll send you pallets of cash and free up, the sanctions against you, which utterly ridiculous. It was worse than Neville Chamberlain with Hitler, to be quite honest, what Barack Obama did. Yeah. Tony Schaefer, got more to get to on the other side of the break. I want to talk about this ceasefire, and then also apparently the niece of Qasem Soleimani living the life in America while her compatriots in Iran were beaten for showing their hair. She was posting pics of her in a bikini. She's been removed from the country. We'll cover both of those things on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. That's exactly right. Yes.
Harris, good morning. High-ranking U.S. sources telling Fox News that while that rescue was ongoing over the weekend, that CENTCOM commander Admiral Brad Cooper directed a strike against an IRGC underground headquarters outside of the Iranian capital of Tehran. Fox News has learned that B-2 bombers were used during this strike, along with massive ordnance penetrators, bunker buster bombs, to target this facility, the same weapons used in Operation Midnight Hammer. And I am told by these high-ranking U.S. sources that the headquarters of the IRGC was obliterated in that strike.
Whoa, that's big news, Tony Schaefer. That's the head of the snake, isn't it?
One of the senior intelligence officers who's been responsible for both attacks before we've gone into war with them, and plus, obviously, one of the ones who organized a lot of the resistance. Plus, I would argue he probably was part of the ambush of the F-15 Eagles, which resulted in the chaos over the past few days, too. So it's really good that we struck them, and I think, more to come on that.
Yeah. Well, we killed a whole lot of their the remaining leadership over the weekend. I had heard another 50 individuals vaporized. Of course, we haven't heard anything from the cardboard Ayatollah because I think he's dead. But Iran is still not playing. I mean, I love their foolish pride. I really, really do, Tony, because it allows us to destroy more, which increases the chances that there will be a complete and total regime change. What do you think?
Well, that's what's happening. We're having a de facto regime change because we're changing them out. Yeah. And they're being removed.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, it's remember, you and I are old of an age, and remember the Monty Python movie, the Hunt for the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail when he's the Dark Knight.
Yeah, the Dark Knight. It's like, it's a flesh wound, and he's, basically bouncing on one leg.
Yes.
I mean, that's where they're at.
It is remarkable that the hubris and the pride that is costing them everything. And, Donald Trump essentially kind of gave them a little out for a ceasefire, and they're not playing. So, okay, here we go. Let's bomb the snot of. I just love that, actually, Tony. I think that's a gift.
I was talking with Dr. Jerry Corsi earlier today about this. One of the things notable about World War II is that we had to defeat the enemy completely before they actually became our friends. I mean, look, we're still friends with Germany and Japan. Yeah. We had to defeat them militarily. So this going halfway, just stopping, unless there's a complete surrender, as President Trump said he wants, we should keep going.
Yeah, 100%.
We don't have to be there with boots on the ground. We can do this from the air and from the sea.
Yep.
We can isolate them.
Yep.
So, we need to do it till they're done. And they're not done yet.
And it sounds like also as far as the Straits of Hormuz is concerned, a whole bunch of nations have come forward to say they're going to handle that. We don't have to handle that. So that is a positive. What about the Democrats and the media who are B-wording and whining about the destruction of Iran's infrastructure, energy grid, etc., saying it's a war crime?
It's not. This goes back to the a masterful use of about 10 to 20% of the Obama money to undermine messaging in the United States. This is all about them, the Iranians using their proxies here to say that. It's not true. First off, any infrastructure target that supports the IRGC is a legitimate target of war, period.
Yep.
To include the bridge, where they were using it to move stuff.
Yep.
Secondly, regarding the grid, it's not a war crime. We took out Saddam Hussein's entire grid during the initial entry of the Gulf One.
Yep.
So this is all literally propaganda being amplified by the U.S. media. It's complete nonsense.
Yeah, I did find this kind of entertaining. Iranian terror mastermind Qasem Soleimani's niece, who was showcasing her lavish lifestyle in Los Angeles on social media while bashing the U.S. as a great Satan, was arrested by federal authorities over the weekend, will be removed from the United States with no chance of ever returning. 25-year-old and her mother, by the way, both removed. They were showing off all sorts of, the money that they stole. It's typical from these dictatorial regimes. They live by a different standard, kind of similar to the oligarchs in Washington, D.C., like Nancy Pelosi. But what are your thoughts on this?
So she really kind of blew it. She had been getting asylum, and then she goes back 4 times to visit Iran. It's like, well, apparently, apparently you don't need asylum because you're going back to visit. And Marco Rubio rightly said, this is nonsense. You're going home. And yeah, I'm sorry, you can't be here and call us the Great Satan and be living on Rodeo Drive in Hollywood.
Unreal.
Living it up and drinking it up.
I swear.
So it's a good move.
It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. One other thing, Cuba is freeing more and more prisoners. What's going on there? The Cuban regime of Miguel Diaz-Canel pardoned 2,000 prisoners as a supposed humanitarian gesture. What's going on?
They have no choice.
Yeah.
They have no choice. Look, they're about to collapse because of their own economic shortfall. So they're going to have to do something to change the way they manage the political system. I think this is a good sign.
Tony, you're a military man, but I've talked about how there's a worldwide movement toward patriotism, joy, and faith. And I believe that I think we're in a battle of good and evil. It's not just, it really are, Tony. Do you feel that?
Yep, I do. No, this is about good and evil. It's not about left or right. It's about good and evil. And unfortunately, one political party of our two parties has really kind of taken the evil side. Just saying.
Well, we just got to stay joyful and overwhelm them with the great news, like the miracle of those two pilots being rescued yesterday. Tony Schaefer, God bless you, brother. Where can people find you on social media?
Just go to T-Spooky on X. That's all you need to do. Thank you for having me.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Pretty cool. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Hello, Gary. I love President Trump. So do I. He's doing a great job. Hello, Shelley. Good to see you there. And what is it? Mickey Hastings, Gladys Kravitz. How are you guys? Hope you're having a good time today. Daggod Dave, whatever. Okay, good to see you, Dave. Sometimes the names are a little weird. Do appreciate it. Hello, Olivia on the Twitter. Good to see you. The Fixer also. Is there a proof Iran was involved in Butler, PA attempt on Trump's life? No, not right now anyway. But somebody else was. The Secret Service and the FBI don't allow people to get into the most prone position to kill the president unless some other people are involved. And it was very obvious that this was a massive collapse of security to put a man in the most prone position to murder the president. So I don't believe it was just him. It's bullcrap. 100% bullcrap. Yeah. Who's watching over on Rumbly? My Rumbly Roo, Sport Tech, and Valentina. And I have a message for you. Don't even know what that is. Probably some sort of spam. But thanks for watching today. I hope you're enjoying the radio program. I had a good weekend. I hope you did too. I do hope you did too. All right, I got to talk here real quick, guys. I got to talk. Give me 1 second here. Sometimes I get distracted. Here we are. Here we are. I've got to talk about gold. Bert's Gold, thank you very much. Bert's Gold. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I got some stuff coming up here. Ooh. Here we go.
I'm going to have 4.5 here.
We got much more on California fraud, including 60 minutes at a piece on the high-speed rail, which was supposed to cost $30 billion to be done years ago, and supposed to be from, L.A. to San Francisco, and now it's only from 2 small municipalities, 100 miles, and they need another $130 billion. It's like square one. That's how bad it is in California. Oh, my Lord. And then all the hospices they've been raiding. I want to get to the Dr. Oz audio at the top of the hour. I want to do that. Oh, by the way, a lot of people have been commenting about my pink bunny suit on my show, Rob Carson's What in the World over the weekend. I mean, a lot of people talking about me wearing a pink bunny suit for Easter. You see, it was an Easter spectacular, right? So we put together the show. And I work with some great guys. And they helped me a lot. Ted and Joe and Brian. There's a lot of time that gets put into this little show. Generally, I start on Saturday gathering clips the week before, and then Sunday and Monday night I write the script. Tuesday I tape the show, send it off through all the approval process. Then it runs the following weekend. So there's a lot of work in this little show, believe it or not. And they suggested I wear a pink bunny suit, so I did. But here's the thing. Ted said, Rob, here's the deal. You got to do the entire show in a bunny suit without acknowledging you're wearing a bunny suit. As he told me, so just don't even mention it. Don't even act like it's there. Just do the show as you would normally, wearing a pink bunny costume. Of course, I did a few things in the costume, like taking a bite out of a chocolate Easter bunny, some marshmallow peeps, and oddly enough, a chocolate crucifix. They sell chocolate crucifixes. Like, I don't know, I guess Walmart doesn't realize what they did to Jesus on the cross. So there's that. But the pink bunny suit, I'll be putting that up on social media the entire show. Rob Carson's What in the World in the... And I had some fairly erotic messages from women saying that I looked kind of hot in the pink bunny suit. I don't know where that came from, but I will never wear that in the bedroom. It's just never going to happen. Never going to happen. I don't care what you want. I don't care. Well, maybe depending on who it is. Elena Haba? Sure. Okay, so anyway... I will hop down that bunny trail any day. When the dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971, Judge Janine, gold was fixed at $35 an ounce. Fast forward to today, and the U.S. dollar lost over 85% of its purchasing power. Gold, on the other hand, has increased 12,000%. Do you know what they're saying now you need to retire on? Are you ready for this? $1.46 million. I'm screwed. I'm completely hosed right now. I got so much work to do in the next 10 years. It's not even funny, and I already started the ball rolling. I got gold from Birch Gold. Right now, it starts with education. Birch Gold just announced their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. This free online event rewards you for learning the basics of investing in precious metals. Sign up to get free silver on your next purchase. Get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn, the more you can earn. It all ends April 30th, and it's already the 6th for crying out loud. So, text my name, Rob, to 989898 to join Birch Gold's Learn and Earn Precious Metals event by April the 30th. Text Rob to 989898 today. The dollar lost its anchor in 1971. You don't have to lose yours. You don't have to lose yours. You don't have to lose it. It's not even funny. We will be beginning the top of the hour with news out of California about hospices.
And they were one of 7 hospice owners that were shut down yesterday. To put that in perspective, in the prior 4 years, the governor of California had shut down 4 hospices. We shut down 7 in one night. Yeah. And I got news for you today, Brett. Let's announce, make it clear to everybody, we've shut down already, just in the last 10 weeks, 221 hospices in California.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, not even the state, in Los Angeles. So we're able to dramatically accelerate a process that had been meandering along in California. And we believe that there are 1,800 hospices in California. That's, by the way, about a third of the entire nation's hospice load is just in Los Angeles. We're going to be able to shut down, we hope, appropriately, half of them.
Yeah, unbelievable. They're calling it Operation Never Say Die because people were signed up for hospice and lived for years and are still alive, but they took the money anyway. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Breaking news. Overnight, Major General Majid Kadhimi, the head of IRGC intelligence, was killed in a joint U.S. and Israeli strike.
Yeah.
I'm told that Kadhimi was evading being targeted, and there were attempts on his life multiple times over the past year. Kadhimi is also the man who is responsible for the intelligence behind the Iranian attacks against U.S. forces and allies across the region, and he is widely considered the number 2 in Iran's IRGC.
Love it, love it, love it. There's more good news coming out. It's Trey Yinks, by the way, doing a great job in Iran with regard to Operation Epic Fury and how we're destroying the evil Iranian Ayatollah's regime. So 47 years of terror coming to a close, and of course the Democrats are just complaining because Donald Trump dropped the F-bomb rather than focusing on all the other bombs that we've been dropping, destroying their infrastructure, not their military infrastructure, their missile batteries, their missiles, their drones. Their navy is underwater, under the sea. So there you go. More good news coming out, and they're too proud to come to the table and surrender, which is great. It just gives us permission to kill more of them and then usher in some freedom. I heard Benjamin Netanyahu the weekend, and Israel is leaning into the regime change because they want peaceful democracy there. And when that happens, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Meanwhile, back at home, I live in Northern Virginia. Virginia, a proud state. I was driving up and down the streets, and the Old Town Alexandria is right across the river from D.C., and you got Duke Street, Princess Street, Queen Avenue, and then over here you got Washington and Columbus and Adams and all of these, the names of American history. It's still very proud of its history, but now they've got an insane cat lady as the governor. And she lied about who she was to get into the governor's mansion, and now we are experiencing a crime crisis.
Tonight, the death of a 3-year-old girl in Northern Virginia is reigniting the national debate over illegal immigration. Her father, 28-year-old Michelle Lopez Gomez, facing charges of second-degree murder after the child allegedly showed signs of child abuse. Officials say Gomez is in the U.S. illegally, and his arrest coming only hours after Fairfax County police arrested another illegal immigrant from Guatemala for a fatal stabbing. The cases are unrelated, but the Department of Homeland Security believes it sees a common thread. DHS telling Fox, open border policies yet again have caused another.
Yeah, and the Abigail Schamberger is not allowing local authorities to stay in touch with ICE. So when these criminals are released, they go back into the general population and commit murder and stuff, because there have been 3 murders in the last couple of weeks now. Just this one, an infant, and then 2 others. A woman named Stephanie Minter, gutted at a bus stop. 41-year-old mother, for goodness sake. And the guy had been arrested. He'd been arrested like 40 times. 75% of the murders this year in Fairfax County by illegal immigrants who shouldn't be here. Cheryl Minter, the mother of Stephanie Minter, is in contact with groups to remove Fairfax County Commonwealth Attorney Steve Descano, who, by the way, is a George Soros supported candidate, getting his rear end removed. Here is the story from Cheryl Minter, the absolute agony that this poor woman is going through, and now this child does not have a mother, only 41 years old.
She had so many looks. I loved them all. She loved to cook.
Cheryl Minter wants justice for her only daughter, Stephanie, a single mother from Fredericksburg, was murdered last month.
My 2 youngest, side by side, 9 years between them.
The suspect, a violent repeat offender who Cheryl says should have been in prison.
This is one of the last photos of her.
The man charged with stabbing Stephanie to death at a bus stop is an illegal immigrant who has been arrested dozens of times for everything from stabbings and robbery to rape.
We've been sent so many cards.
The case has gotten national attention.
To the friends and family of Stephanie Minter, I saw an article about Stephanie's murder. Although it may be of little comfort, may justice be served in this heinous crime.
Well, there's got to be something done about this governor and this this assembly that is so left of center. A $2.3 billion surplus left by the previous governor. They've raised taxes 80 times, and then, of course, doing some unconstitutional Second Amendment restrictions on the proud people of Virginia. And right now, 76% of Virginians polled do not want this gerrymandering that this awful, wretched Catwoman, Abigail Scamberger, and she's lying about redistricting. She's ramming through a new map that could wipe out 4 Republican seats, meaning taxation without representation. And I believe that started the Revolutionary War. In fact, I know it is. But, of course, she's lying about it. She's saying it's about restoring fairness. But, again, she lied about everything to become the governor. She said she was a moderate. She's not. She's a Marxist communist. That's what she is.
I mean, this whole thing seems like a bait and switch. I mean, Abigail Spanberger said she would not redistrict. In 2020, Virginia amended its constitution to give
Lydia Moynihan, by the way, on CNN. She's great.
The districting to a bipartisan commission, and now all of a sudden,
wonder
a
why.
state that's completely purple, they're trying, and I feel like they're trying to pull the wool over voters' eyes. The language,
which is what they did to get her elected. It's exactly what they did to get her elected. This weekend, George Stephanopoulos calls himself a journalist. Donald Trump last week signed an executive order to make sure that you are who you are when you send a mail-in ballot with a barcode on it and everything. You got to prove who you are, where you live, all of that, or it does not count in a federal election. And here, of course, is ABC's report alleging, I guess, vote theft by securing the vote.
With just 7 months until this year's midterm election, President Trump this week attempting to crack down on mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
So I think this will help a lot with elections.
The president signing an executive order directing his administration to create a list of confirmed U.S. citizens eligible to
Well, isn't that amazing? That's just amazing, isn't it?
vote in each state.
Yeah.
And to ban the Postal Service from mailing voters' ballots unless they are on a state's official absentee voter list.
There you go.
That list must be given to USPS at least 60 days before.
Yeah, that's how we make sure that you are who you are. But listen to George Stephanopoulos with the venom dripping from his fangs. Listen to this.
Have honest voting in our country.
President Trump signing an executive order to limit mail-in voting, his latest move to subvert the midterms, sowed doubt about the results as his party faces political headwinds.
What the hell was that all about? That was pure editorial comment.
Executive order to limit mail-in voting, his latest move to subvert the midterms, sowed doubt about the results as his party faces political headwinds.
No, actually, no, they don't. They don't actually face political headwinds. The only headwinds they're facing are its midterms, and generally the party in power faces headwinds. But you see, right now, the Democrat Party is way down in fundraising. They're not raising a damn dime. Republicans are way out in front. Favorability rating way out in front. All of these things. And so George Stephanopoulos becomes what he is, which is a propagandist. He's basically a propagandist. Absolutely ridiculous. Kind of interesting. Trump set to appoint firebrand attorney Harmeet Dillon after a sudden resignation of current number 3. So Harmeet Dillon could get a powerful promotion to Associate Attorney General, the third highest position inside the Department of Justice. Currently works as Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. Source familiar with the matter also said that Stanley Woodward, who previously held the position, resigned earlier on Saturday, according to the Daily Wire. Some of the things that Harmeet has done, targeting DEI programs, challenging election practices, and taking aggressive legal action on cultural and constitutional issues. And isn't it kind of weird that Donald Trump is promoting a woman? Because CNN last week basically said that Donald Trump fired Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi because they were women. That's what CNN said last week. They were sure it was all about sexism, which makes you kind of wonder, why would he originally put them in that position in the first place? Here is CNN talking to this guy. I don't remember this guy's name, but he looks like an old-timey Western bartender with a big handlebar mustache that covers his mouth.
Perhaps you think there is a male secretary who actually should be the one who he should be targeting at this point. Do you think he is targeting women on purpose?
Yes, I do. He doesnn't have the respect or the admiration for women.
Well, you better tell his chief of staff, and you better tell his agriculture secretary, and you better tell him, Harmeet Dillon as well. Honestly, that's all you got. Again, the Democrat Party doesn't have anything. They don't have nothing. And they think they're going to take the midterms, I guess, because it's the midterms, but they're not offering the United States anything. Here is, by the way, we were talking earlier about this fraud in California. It's bigger than we could have ever imagined. Last week, I read the piece from Christopher Rufo, you recall, and I posted it on social media. Here's Chris Rufo talking about all of the fraud in California.
Somewhere between $180 billion and $280 billion in fraud under Gavin Newsom in California. But when you dig into it and you read all of the court documents, the indictments, the other investigations, we found out that virtually every criminal group on planet Earth has been looting the state of California. Romanian international fraud rings. You had rap groups in Memphis, Tennessee. You had neo-Nazi prison gangs. You had people actually in California death row applying for fraudulent unemployment benefits. And what we found is that essentially every criminal group saw that Gavin Newsom was opening the floodgates of state spending. They could take whatever they wanted. And he's losing now an estimated up to $50 billion a year to fraud.
Yeah, because they get people signed up for benefits, get them registered to vote. There's no investigation of voter fraud in the state of California at all. It's illegal. They don't do it. Load up people with all sorts of government largesse while the people pay for it and the people suffer. And then get Democrat votes. It's really thoroughly disgusting. On the other side, you won't believe how bad it is with hospices, and also the high-speed rail is back to square one, even though they started building it 20 years ago. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
80 WCBM and 99.9 FM in Harford County.
Tonight, an American F-15 fighter jet went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well at a level that nobody's ever seen before. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
We will see. We will see. The arrogance and hubris of those in control, I guess, of Iran. They refuse to surrender, and so I think it's great. It gives us a green light to bomb the snot out of them. There you go. There you go. There you go. Here is, this is interesting. Elon Musk, a year ago when he was in charge of Doge, you remember all the big bought and paid for AstroTurf protests that became No Kings eventually? They went after Elon Musk for going after waste, fraud, and abuse. And they did it by calling him a Nazi, which was ridiculous. But people, were baited into it, whatever. And then all of a sudden now he's not a Nazi anymore. You see how you were played? But here is Elon Musk exposing a year ago what they're finding now.
They were also giving out like debit cards with $10,000. So it's not just about medical care. Yeah. The Democrats mentioned the medical care because they're trying to prey on people's empathy as much as possible. Yeah. And then they imagine, oh, wow, somebody has a desperately needed medical procedure, and shouldn't we maybe take care of them in that regard?
Yeah. So they got people signed up who did not need treatment in any way, shape, or form. They used people's identities to sign them up for hospice care or whatever, and to the tune of trillions of dollars.
So then the rebuttal from the Dems is like, oh, well, the vast majority of the people who are marked as live in the Social Security Administration weren't receiving Social Security Administration payments. That is true. What they forgot to mention is they're getting fraudulent payments from every other government program. Yeah. And that's why the Dems were so opposed to turning off, to declaring someone dead who was dead, because it would stop the entire all the other fraud from happening.
Yeah, and who did they give that largesse to get their votes?
So California and New York and Illinois lie like crazy, and say that these are all legitimate payments. Well, these days I think they're even admitting that they literally want hundreds of billions of dollars for illegals. You get these transfer payments for every government program you can possibly think of, New York, Illinois, and other states. When they would lie, there was no actual enforcement to say like, hey, you're lying. These payments are fraudulent. Now under the Trump administration, the Trump administration does not want.
Yeah, when Joe Biden was the president, they signed up as many people as possible and said, do not investigate them at all for fraud. Just give them the money. Just give them the money. And they did. That's why they increased the size of the federal government by 40% during COVID. Here is Dr. Oz in California. They've shut down 200 plus fake hospice centers that were, they had patients that were living for years, supposedly, and some people didn't even know that they were in hospice care.
And they were one of 7 hospice owners that were shut.
Or at least their name was being used.
Down yesterday. To put that in perspective, in the prior 4 years, the governor of California had shut down 4 hospices. We shut down 7 in one night. And I'll get news for you today, Brett. Let's announce and make it clear, everybody, we've shut down already, just in the last 10 weeks, 221 hospices in California.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, not even the state, in Los Angeles. So we're able to dramatically accelerate a process that had been meandering along in California.
And they just signed them up without any screening whatsoever.
That government had been fragmented in its approach. So yesterday, the U.S. Attorney, Billy Asaili, led the charge. He got the Office of Inspector General, the Department of Justice. He got everyone working together. We're bringing in Scott Bessent in Treasury, because guess what? Bank fraud's a big part of this. And we've also got a problem that's even larger, I think, in that we had told people in the federal government for the last 4 years, under the Biden administration, don't do your job. Literally, we told people who were in charge of fraud that they should just sort of calm down.
And, of course, this happened in Minnesota as well. And the worst thing about this is that it actually cost people their lives.
This is critical. If these corrupt fraudsters are willing to steal your money, they will steal your health, they'll steal your life. I've seen it firsthand. Hospice owners who are willing to throw away the benefits that these older folks should have, and they die because they don't realize they've been tricked into signing up on hospice.
Yeah.
They never wanted.
Yeah, they could have been treated, but they signed them up for hospice to die.
We have the same thing happen with durable medical equipment. Brett, we're right now in the epicenter of this. Durable medical equipment suppliers in South Florida outnumber the number of McDonald's by twofold. There's twice as many people selling wheelchairs and canes and braces in South Florida than there are McDonald's. How is that possible?
Yeah, this is Bill Asaley. He is the Undersecretary AG of the state of California.
And then they're signing people up to be beneficiaries. So they'll meet them at a market or wherever, and they'll say, hey, I'll pay you $300 cash a month if you let me use your name to sign you up for hospice. And so some people do it unknowingly.
Yeah, the people who got the money, too, need to be imprisoned. This includes a whole lot of Somali parents in the state of Minnesota who lied about their children having autism. You need to be denaturalized and deported the hell out.
Unwittingly, and some people are doing it for the cash. But they're billing Medicare about $5,000 or $6,000 a month for each person that they sign up.
Wow.
And so for the folks we arrested yesterday, I mean, they all billed millions of dollars.
It was printing money, man.
And it went to their personal pockets, their mortgages, their cars, vacations, and that's mine and yours money. That's tax money.
And when people think of hospice, usually people, unfortunately, pass away within like 3 weeks of going into hospice. But not the people you're talking about.
Correct. So the name of the operation was called Never Say Die because their survival rate is over 80%. Yeah. And that's actually the inverse of what it should be. The survival rate after 3 months, 6 months should be about 17%. So it's a huge...
Yeah, they just signed people up and they kept them, they lived for 5 years just drawing off the hospice care, and nobody in government did anything about it. No investigation whatsoever. This is why so many politicians need to be arrested.
Glad the government is finally stepping up to do their part. State has been taking action for years, including suspending 280-plus licenses and banning new licenses since 2022. Big question, will Trump pardon any of them like he's done to so many fraudsters before? What's your response to
that? Is Gavin Newsom's words, by the way.
See how he politicizes everything? We're going after fraudsters here. The federal government is the piggy bank. We're the money. The programs are administered through the state. So every single one of these fraudulent hospices, they have to be licensed by the state of California. Yeah. They're responsible for overseeing the licenses. Yeah. They're responsible for regulating doctors and nurses. And the California auditor has said California needs to enact emergency regulations to crack down on this fraud. And they were supposed to be enacted by January 1st, and he hasn't done it.
Yeah, because he's in on it. Same way with Tim Volz and Keith Ellison and Ilhan Omar. And people are going to have to be perp walked and spend their lives in prison. Politicians. I'm talking about politicians, those in power who allowed this to happen. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, and gratuities. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your D.C. getaway today, or give our friends at Cruise and Tour a call at 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131, or travelwithrob.net. guys see the video of me in my bed this weekend? Did you see it? Yeah, I know. Actually, I was sharing my ghost bed. I have this wonderful mattress called the Ghost Bed, and I thought that sleep was kind of becoming a punchline for me. It was later I considered it just to be a waste of time to go to bed because, and I mean this seriously, why am I wasting my time when I could be doing something creative? I could be writing, I could be doing a show, I could be doing whatever. If I'm just going to lay with my eyes open and try to turn here and turn left and turn right and get up at 2 o'clock and get up at 4 o'clock and all this nonsense. I got this Ghost Bed. This Ghost Bed is amazing. It is a queen-size mattress with a topper, and it is not too hard, not too soft, keeps you cool. This morning, the alarm went off at 7 o'clock, and I hit the snooze button for the first time in years because I didn't want to get out of bed. It just felt that good. Oh, man. I'm not kidding. You go to my social media, Rob Carson Show, or Rob Carson, and see the bed. It is just the best mattress I've ever had in my life. I can't imagine. And I had expensive stuff. Previously, I had one that I ordered online. I won't say it, but it's a ghost. It kind of got a ghost name, but not the same. It's a friendly ghost. Anyway, not happy with that one. Not happy with that one. And then I had one before that, another one, and it's adjustable. This is just mind-bendingly amazing that I look forward to going to bed. It's incredible. Ghostbed.com/Carson. Ghostbed.com/Carson. You get 10% off their already low prices, and they're made in America by a guy who had a severe neck injury, and he wasn't sleeping, and so he created this company, and it's just the best. It's the best. Ghostbed.com/Carson for 10% off. California's high-speed rail is a joke. They started talking in I believe it was 2006, and now they are back at square one. This, by the way, is from CBS last night. From 60 Minutes, actually committing an act of journalism.
Here outside Fresno in California's Central Valley, one of the few signs of concrete progress. Literally, structures like this. Locals here jokingly refer to it as their own Stonehenge. Ideally, these bridges and viaducts will one day be used to support California high-speed rail. But for now, these are curiosities in a field. Monuments to promises that haven't been met and plans that haven't been executed.
Ironic, because American rail was once the world's envy. In the 1800s,
we won't get into the history of it, but absolutely unbelievable. And here are the new people in charge of this debacle, which was only supposed to cost $30 billion, but that has exploded to $120-some billion. But these guys say, no, we need that now. We need that entire amount now.
As we speak right now, are the funds there to complete LA to San Francisco?
The entire amount of money we need, not there today. But do we believe we can get those funds to get the project done? Absolutely.
Why should we trust you? You spent 20 years doing nothing.
How much do you estimate it's going to cost to connect high-speed rail San Francisco to LA?
It's not going to be San Francisco to LA.
Today, we estimate with the right optimization, just over $125 billion. I think $126 billion.
It's supposed to be $30 billion.
Is the current estimate for that.
That's more funding than Amtrak has received in its history, and still leaves a shortfall of roughly $90 billion.
Wow.
That's a big gap to fill.
It is a big gap to fill, but again, we have an understanding of how to get there and to fill that.
Well, we don't trust you anymore. You lie. You lie. I don't care who they put in charge of you. They should just forget the whole damn thing. Here is a little bit more from the report about this being the quintessential example of fraud.
I think that the California high-speed rail nightmare is the probably quintessential example of government waste and mismanagement.
You say this needs to stop.
Needs to stop.
Yeah.
Congressman Vince Fong, a Republican from Bakersfield, sits on the House Transportation Committee. He says that when California voters first approved high-speed rail, the promise and price tag were more...
This is the stuff of revolution. This is what causes governments to get their booted out of office. Not necessarily just by an election. I'm not saying that should happen. But this is the kind of thing that the people have just had enough of this. Just had enough. It's time to run these people out of town on a rail. But the rail hasn't been installed, you see.
Marketing campaign than realistic projection.
We're now in 2026. There are no trains. There's no track laid. It's a complete bait and switch.
If I vote for a mansion in Malibu by next year and someone says, actually, you know what, in 5 years we're going to have a doghouse in Modesto.
Yeah.
How do things go so off the rails?
The business plan that was put out in 2008 was very theoretical. This is what we think is going to happen. And it became very clear that they didn't have the specifics worked out.
Yeah, they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan. And so now all of the expectations are completely diminished.
Here in the U.S., high-speed rail looks like this, hardly passenger-ready. America's hopes for its first high-speed rail were kindled in 2008 when California voters approved a ballot measure for a train connecting Los Angeles to San Francisco in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Politicians are like a little kid asking for a pony for their birthday. I'll take care of it. I'll love it. I'll do all this. And then when you get the pony, they don't do a dang thing, and you end up taking care of the dang pony and losing a lot of money on it.
The estimated price tag, $33 billion. Completion date, 2020.
2020 was supposed to be done for $30 billion.
It would cut pollution, revitalize local
I'll take care of that pony. I'll feed that pony. Mom and Dad, it'll be the best thing in the world. Just buy me the pony.
economies, clear gridlock. Status update. Today, the state's high-speed rail authority is preparing to lay its first tracks at roughly the same cost.
Yeah.
Only slight course correction here.
Yeah, listen to this. It was supposed to be L.A. to San Francisco.
Instead of LA to San Francisco, it will run 1/3 of that distance, connecting, wait for it, the metropolis of Bakersfield and Merced, population 96,000.
Wow.
Oh, and when will it open? 2033.
What a total screw job. What a total screw job. Man, California, seriously. This is why, for the 6th year in a row, highest outbound moving is coming from the state of California, because California is scrod. There is a company apparently named Brightline that actually is doing the right job in the state of Florida. I want you to listen to one of the things they did, which should be very obvious, as far as making it easy to build the tracks and not have to deal with right-of-way and all of that. How about build the train line next to the highway?
Oh, wow. Next stop, Zurich. It's like a European train system.
This train, which opened in 2018 and runs between Miami and Orlando, hits top speeds of around 125 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not quite high speed, but close. It's akin to a beta test for Brightline's next project, a bullet train connecting LA and Las Vegas in just over 2 hours. A trip that can take 5 hours by car.
Wow.
Brightline West will be true high-speed rail, first time in the country.
Wow.
And we'll operate at speeds of about 200 miles an hour maximum.
Wow.
Out west, Brightline is solving the right-of-way issue by running on the median of the I-15 highway.
Duh.
Construction has already begun on some of the station structures. The plan is to start service in 2029.
And they probably will get that done. Meanwhile, in California, not till 2033, and it's $100 billion over budget. Honestly, unbelievable. Going up the I-95 corridor here, they've got a high-speed. Well, no, it looks like a bullet train for Amtrak, but it only goes 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's very nice. It's much better than the old Amtrak trains, but it ain't high speed. And Amtrak is a boondoggle anyway. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
The Kim Klacik Show, 9 to noon on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
With Dr. Oz. Might have, well, you're living in Oz. Well, hospice, we've been after that for years and years before Oz was even on the scene.
That's Gavin Newsom lying.
This is purely political. This is not about fraud and abuse.
No, it is.
This is about the polarization.
$500 billion of fraud and abuse from you, sir.
Politicalization, weaponization, not just a grievance, but weaponization across the board of agencies.
It's about going after abject corruption, the likes we never could have imagined.
And weaponization, the likes of which we've never seen from an administration.
And here is Dr. Oz.
Hospice owners that were shut down yesterday. To put that in perspective, in the prior 4 years, the governor of California had shut down 4 hospices.
Yeah.
We shut down 7 in one night. And I'll get news for you today, Brett. Let's announce and make it clear, everybody, we've shut down already, just in the last 10 weeks, 221 hospices.
Yeah. People are going to have to go to jail. Corrupt judges. Married Somali pair busted for shielding cartels and laundering billions. Federal agents didn't mess around at dawn. Over 200 FBI and ICE operators hit 17 locations across Minneapolis, St. Paul in a massive raid. The targets, sitting district judges Amina Hassan and her husband Khaled Osman, and a Somali power couple handed the keys to justice in Minnesota, according to explosive claims. These two weren't just wearing robes. They were on the Sinaloa and other cartels' payroll. They allegedly dismissed cases, torched evidence, slow-walked warrants, cleared their runway for deadly drugs flooding American streets. Agents hauled out 3.25 tons of cocaine with a street value of $180 million. They also cracked open a $1.5 billion fraud scheme running through shell companies and fake nonprofits that funneled cartel cash while ripping off taxpayers. The judges supposedly used their benches like get-out-of-free jail cards for traffickers and turned community programs into money laundering hubs, luxury condos, hidden cash, encrypted drives, mapping shipment routes, all allegedly tied back to them. America imported judges who put foreign cartels above American safety. Tim Volz needs to go to prison. He needs to be walked out of the governor's mansion in Minnesota. And the same goes for Keith Ellison, and the same goes for Ilhan Omar. Utterly, utterly ridiculous. Meanwhile, in New York City, what a mess that New York City has become. Here is the latest from Zoran Mandami. He is going to create a racial equity board. This will end in nothing at all, okay? It'll end up with a bunch of money being spent. It'll ultimately be destructive, not productive whatsoever, but here we go again.
And while today's true cost of living measure confirms that the affordability crisis touches every corner of our city, we know that these effects are not applied evenly. So often, it is black and brown New Yorkers who are hit.
You know, there are a lot of poor white New Yorkers, and that encompasses Irish, English, German, Dutch, Armenian, Italians, French, all of this. This is just freaking nonsense. It's already been tried. All it exists for is to divide us, but there are a lot of white people supposedly in New York who suffer just as much, who work just as hard. They're firemen, they're police officers, they're teachers, they're high altitude welders. They bust their butts to build the city, and this is how he's treating them.
Hardest. This preliminary racial equity plan is the first step in developing a whole of government approach to tackling that reality. It is a plan that lays out these first steps to solve decades of neglect and discrimination. And it places the work of 45 city agencies within a singular framework.
And it's nothing but academic gobbledygook. He's a joke. He's a joke. Meanwhile, over the weekend, a little baby, 7-month-old baby in a stroller was killed by a gang member. They got all these gang members roving around the state of New York, the city of New York. New York is once again turning into an absolute crap hole. Here's a great piece from Newsmax.
Just 2 weeks after New York City Mayor Mamdani formed his Office of Community Safety, a 7-month-old baby was fatally shot in her stroller by a stray bullet right where I'm standing in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
This is hurting me from the bottom of my heart.
I heard it was gang related.
That has happened in Northern Virginia, too.
They should not be driving mopeds and just shooting people.
Do you think the elected officials like Mayor Mamdani are doing a good job?
No, not really.
He said he was going to combat gun violence, and a lot of his critics were saying, well, you should combat gang violence.
Exactly, gang violence.
You feel safe in New York?
No, I don't.
I don't.
If I feel roughly safe.
Outside the neighborhood, no, not at all.
I personally feel safe here.
The guy came and grabbed my phone from behind and ran.
So he stole your phone?
He stole my phone.
I almost got pushed inside the tracks. When the train was coming, I felt like I slightly pushed and I almost fell forward. That's the reason why I don't even want to be in New York.
There are people on the streets that shouldn't be on the streets.
A man with 131 prior arrests was recently charged for lighting a homeless man on fire.
131 priors?
There's 100 and something charges. It's almost like, when is it going to stop?
Yeah, and people are moving out of New York. The stock exchange is going to move out of New York. Did you know that? The stock exchange is moving to Texas. Here is a stock trader being interviewed in New York City.
What's going to happen is this part of the country is going to go completely Marxist communist. That's why the New York Stock Exchange is moving to Dallas, Texas right now. Everything in the financial world, which I consult to, we're moving everything down to Texas and Florida. We're done with New York. There will be no entry-level jobs for college students this year when they get out of school. This is going to go Marxist communist. My prediction, 2 years, New York will look like Detroit.
Yeah, 100%. Here's Jamie Dimon talking about the mass exodus from New York City.
But here's a lesson, and this lesson is true for companies, cities, states, and countries. You got to compete. There's no divine right to success. Just read the history books. So our headcount in Manhattan, when I got to JP Morgan, was 35,000, and now it's 26,000. Yeah. Our headcount in Texas, it started at 11,000, now it's 33,000. That's what happens. And, part of it's the highest individual taxes, highest estate taxes, highest corporate taxes, anti-business sentiment, and that's what happens. And, you could be any ideologue you want, but that's the real world. And
the socialism is so popular. Why, whenever a socialist wins, is the outbound population, why does it increase so dramatically? Because it sucks and it always ruins everything. That's all you need to do, and you can slap another label on it. You can call it, New Democratic Party. You can call it, Democrat Socialism, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's still a crap sandwich without the bread. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Crazy day. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorial with a special nighttime illumination tour. Over on
Our adventure includes premium
hotel
Rumble.
Glad to see you there. In the heart of D.C. It's really just been 6 meals, pretty amazing watching this grow. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your DC getaway today, or give our friends By the way, tour a call. If you want to come with me on my trip here this fall to DC, that's travelwithrob.net, okay? It's filling up. 4 nights, 5 days, trip of a lifetime, 250th anniversary of America.
And more freedom.
It's only going to happen once. Donald Trump's only going to be the president of the United States at the same time.
Get rid of waste and fraud and abuse.
So I hope you might consider
it. Cutting $2 trillion.
Travel with Rob.
I think they're serious as hell. I think it will happen as long as Republicans
what are we going to talk about here?
Go along with what their recommendations are. Those recommendations are expected on July 4th of 2026.
John
I played most of my audio. I still got a couple
on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
There we go.
Retirement. It's almost here.
Not ready to talk
just Join Mike DePaula and Sarah Flora of Flora and DePaula Wealth Partners for SWAT Retirement Strategy Hour. Saturdays at 2 on Talk Radio 680 WCBM. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Hear the news, then talk about it at the top and bottom of every hour.
If you missed the story earlier, you might want to listen to the podcast.
Breaking news, stimulating talk, only on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and 99.9 FM in Harford County.
320 here.
Dig it.
Homelessness in the U.S. hit a record level this year, jumping by more than 18% and rising even higher among families specifically. Federal officials say the increase was mostly driven by a lack of affordable housing. New York had the second highest number of homeless people, I should say, in the U.S. at just over 158,000. The state also had the most homeless.
Yeah, it's happening in Democrat-run states. I don't say blue states because Democrats are red communists. Yeah, that's where it's happening, kids. That's where it's happening. In California, in New York. It's not happening in Iowa. It's not happening in Des Moines. Yeah, it's not happening in Nashville. So there you go. The dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971. Gold at that time cost $35 an ounce. It was fixed at that price. Go to today, U.S. dollar has lost 85% of its purchasing power. This is why homes are unaffordable for many of us, most of us, a good share of us. Also, printing money ruined the housing market, doubled the price of homes when Joe Biden was the president. So there you go. Gold, on the other hand, has increased in value by 12,000%. Central banks are buying it. Vanguard, BlackRock, they have massive holds of gold. It starts with education. Birch Gold is doing their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. So they provide an online event so you can learn more about investing in precious metals, and you also earn rewards. Okay, so you sign up to get free silver on your next purchase, get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn, the more you earn, but you got to act now. They say you're supposed to have $1.46 million in your savings to retire successfully. I got a long way to go. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 to join Birch Gold's Learn and Earn Precious Metals event by April 30th. Text Rob to 989898 today. If you would, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. I got a couple minutes here to talk before we go. Backlash. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to end on a bad note. Gavin Newsom hired a consulting firm to find ways to cut waste, and he paid them $20 million. I would have done it for $1 million and just said, I don't know, eliminate the fraud in the Medicaid program and the hospice program and all of that. $20 million on a consulting firm in efforts to cut waste. And they've only found $810 million in savings. They were expected to find billions in savings, but that's your government. That's it. And then, by the way, one other thing: the trip to Washington D.C. in the fall in October. If you want to learn more about it, go to travelwithrob.net. October 25th through the 29th, 5 days, 4 nights, accommodations. That are fantastic. Many of the meals, we'll go to the Capitol, we'll go to the Arlington National, we'll go to Lincoln Memorial, the whole deal. It's only going to be the 250th anniversary of America this time, and only Donald Trump is the president at this time. It's an amazing event. Travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net. Do that today, will you? Check it out, get the information, and get signed up because it's selling out. God bless you. America has founded our soldiers that are kicking butt in Iran. And of course, our ICE officials as well. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, don't catch the stupid. I love you guys. We'll see you.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.